could I show you real quick about a CMA, how I use a CMA to sort of gauge the temperature of the market? Would that be okay? I hope so, because I'm going to do it, right? But if we want to look in a specific neighborhood, because it's nice to have county stats and regional stats, how would we get a sense of the current market? Now, what I want to show you is Central Oak Park. Now here's, North, Central, and South Oak Park. Thanks, Tammy, appreciate it. And I want to show you, how would I know the temperature of the market real quick? And now you don't have to be a graph wizard either. I have free tutorials online. If you want to know how to make graphs, I mean, they're there for you. But so imagine me pulling a CMA. Okay, and in all of these examples, I'm going to show 3 quick examples. I want to show you exactly what I look for, and then we'll move on to some other trends. But in these examples, I pulled the past 90 days of sales, and then I pulled all listings and pendings. Okay, and so the past 90 days of sales, there's only 5 sales in Central Oak Park. Okay, not a lot of data, and so this isn't really strong. But what I want to do, first of all, in any neighborhood, I just want to ask, what about the number of listings with the number of sales? If it's fairly similar, maybe the market's somewhat balanced. Okay, if I pulled it up though, and there were 24 listings and then only 5 sales recently, I would know, wow, there are properties that are not selling, we have a problem. Or if I pull it up and then there's, there were 20 sales over the past 90 days and then there's 2 listings, and I would go, wow, there's not much on the market, okay? And so I look at the number of sales versus listings. That helps me assess real quickly if there's balance, and I look at days on market. Look, among current or recent sales over the past 90 days, properties took 10 days to sell. Among current pendings, okay, it looks like that's up just a little bit. And among current listings, that's up a little. Now, here's the thing. You have so little data. You might have a couple properties that really skew the stats, but generally speaking, it looks like among the current market listings and pendings, maybe taking a little bit longer to sell. And the last thing I look at a CMA, I'm comparing sales, the original price versus what it actually sold for. In this case, it looks like it was down by about 1 to 2%. Okay, and so that's kind of a sign of a pretty competitive market if it's only selling 1 to 2% lower. But look, when I look at pendings, they're getting into contract at what they're listed for. So this suggests, okay, among current pendings, the market looks pretty competitive. And among listings, it's exactly the same. And so just a quick way to see the market. Here's, and by the way, you can check this out later. Here's North Oak Park, Central Oak Park, and South Oak Park. Check this out in the download or the replay, but there's a real difference when we look at values. Basically in Oak Park, the lower you go, the lower prices get. Okay, that's exactly what the stats show. So be careful about pulling comps, all right? But here's East Sac, and in East Sac, there were 63 sales over the past 90 days, and I'm looking at current listings, 53. That's a pretty strong amount. I would say that that looks pretty balanced. There's probably room for a little bit more listings, so I might even call this an undersupply. But look, when we look at, how long did they take to get sell? 21 days. But you look at current pendings, 46. And current listings 68. And again, sometimes you have a property that has 200 days on market, it's throwing off the stats, but it generally looks like among the current housing stock, it's taking longer to sell. And so sometimes that's a clue in, okay, it looks like the market's starting to soften. Now, if it took 21 days to sell and there was a massive amount of pendings and they got into contract in 5 days, that would suggest, wow, the market is super hot. Okay, and the last thing I'd want to look at is the sales price to original list price ratio. And here it looks like among sales, they sold about 2% less. It looks like pendings are about 3% less and listings are about 2% less. And so to me, it looks like that market's probably holding somewhat steady. Okay, if I looked in Arden Park, I'm looking at all these same dynamics. It looks like there's less listings and recent sales, so that probably means the market's competitive. When I look at days on market, it looks like it's taking longer to sell among current stuff. Okay, and when I look at the original list price and the sales price and pendings, it looks like it's all about 2% or so. So it looks like to me there hasn't been a real change among pendings and listings. So does that make sense? Are you like, oh my gosh, I need to go sleep? I hope that does. If not, hit me up later and I can explain that. But here's the thing. We've got to see the market and look at the right stats on a CMA when we're looking at stuff. So was that helpful or not? You can let me know if you're totally confused. That's no problem.